Hey, Force-E divers, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm your host, Nicole Heath, and I've got Jeff Nelson sitting here next to me. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, guys, if you're listening in, go ahead and hit the like button or the heart emoji or that smiley face emoji. Let us know where you are listening in from. Type it in the comment section. We want to know who's watching along with us tonight. And if you guys are enjoying this presentation and you have questions, you can type that in the comment section as well. And don't forget, if you did not register for tonight's event on the Facebook, on the event page, what you're going to want to do is go to www.force-e.com and go to the Eventbrite link. You're going to register, and that gets you into the raffle we're going to do later, where we're going to raffle off a free Night Diver Academics digital kit. Woo! So if you are looking to take your diving to the next level and you want to take a course with us, this is the way to get it. All right. Now that Eventbrite link, that actually stops at 6:45. So make sure you're going over to www.force-e.com and registering for that event so that you can get into that raffle later. All right, everyone's coming in saying hello to you, Jeff. All right, so the topic tonight we're going to be talking about is night diving. And if you have never done a night dive, or it's been a while, or maybe you want to learn some more things about night diving so you can enjoy it more, we're going to have some great little tips and tricks, talking about gear, talking about skills, talking about the dive sites that we like to go night diving at. So first of all, I'm going to introduce Jeff. Jeff, what do you do at Force-E?
Well, I'm one of the instructors at the store in Riviera Beach. Real avid blue heron bridge diver, and I also do sales and kind of just about a little bit repairs, things like that, little stuff like that. I like the big stuff for Billy.
And Jeff is actually nicknamed Mr. Blue Heron Bridge. So if you guys want to learn more about the Blue Heron Bridge, go into the store, go talk to Jeff, or hire him to be a dive guide. He is knowledgeable about where all the little critters that live at that bridge. So right now, I believe octopus season.
Yeah, the octopus are coming in right now.
Yeah.
Really good. We're getting a lot of them popping up all over the place right now.
Yeah, so if you guys want to see these critters, give us a call. We'll get you booked to go diving with Jeff or one of the other guys at our Riviera store. All right, Jeff is the man. Yeah, that's right.
I pay good money for that.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and pop into our presentation. And like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and comment in the away, and we will answer them as we see them. All right, so night diving with Jeff Nelson. Night diving. Jeff, why do you like night diving?
It's just, I love it because you just really bring your light down with you. So all the light that we lose when we go underwater, we're actually bringing it with us, and it really makes it pop. So you really see the colors you don't really see during the daytime, you see at nighttime. Plus all the little guys, little critters, and different critters come out. So if you've done a lot of day diving, night diving actually really is nice because you get to see different types of species and how they act differently. So it's just a total different world.
Awesome. And some of my night diving experiences, I've had some really cool critter encounters, and we're going to talk about that later. So that's why I like night diving. Nice. All right. So first of all, what we're going to do is talk to you about making a night dive plan. All right. So Jeff, selecting a site. How do you select a site for a night dive?
Well, you want to select a site that's obviously, first thing you want to do is be familiar with the site. So you don't want to kind of go somewhere you've never been to the first time unless you've dove during the daytime. So definitely experience the site during the day, and then pick your site. And then of course find out what you're trying to do. Are you looking? Do you want to do more of a boat dive? Are you looking for a different type of a shore dive? So what kind of animal you're looking for? Because sometimes it would depend on that as well. And then of course the big one would be make sure you watch the weather, of course, because you want to have conditions to be a little bit more primo compared to a daytime. Some people might like, I can dive in 3 to 5 foot seas, but in a night dive you probably want a little calmer, a little more relaxing.
And what about doing a boat dive versus a shore dive? What is the difference there when it comes to night diving?
So again, difference would be maybe different animals. Shore dives are nice because you can access them depending if it's a tide dive and maybe it's not a tide dive. So you might be able to access it at if it's a non-tide dive, like when I went out in California, it really didn't matter when we went. So we could get off work, grab your gear, you go on a shore dive. Maybe the boats aren't available. Maybe the seas are too rough where they might be at a protected lagoon area like the Blue Heron Bridge. So that would determine if you want to do a shore dive. The boat dives, what I like about them is the you get to see different types of areas. So if you've done a lot of shore dives and you want to see something different, you've got things like maybe bigger coral formations and sponges and see different animals. Maybe you want to go and see something different, and it might be only accessible by a boat.
Yeah, even like a wreck dive.
Yeah, like a wreck dive. Really cool on a night dive, by the way.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like a spooky haunted house feel, because you get to explore. Yes. Especially if you have the right certifications and that level of diving, explore inside a wreck at night, and it's a little like going through a haunted house.
Yeah, and just like any other plan, you always want to make sure you do all the other basic stuff. Let someone know what you're doing. And I do recommend that if you're going to go diving with a light, I would take it on a dive for the first time during the day. So take everything you're going to go on that night dive with, a light, anything you're going to hold in your hand, take it with you on a day dive. So that way you can see how everything works, so you can get used to it when you do the night dive.
Okay, so what are some considerations and planning that needs to go into night diving?
Planning would be, do you have the right equipment? If you're doing rechargeable batteries on your lights, do you have the right light for what you're trying to do? Maybe you're doing a video light. Maybe you want to take videos at night. Maybe you're lobstering and you need a more powerful light to cut through the light, cut farther into the depth of field. So check your light, make sure the O-rings have been greased, cleaned. Make sure if you're not doing a rechargeable, maybe you want to do make sure you check the batteries, get a voltage meter and check the batteries, check the bulb, test to make sure that they all work. So that's one thing. So check your equipment. And then of course, other considerations would be what your buddies you got to check with your buddy, of course. What's their comfort level? How's their equipment? Getting familiar with your buddy's equipment. What are they wearing? Because you can't just look at them. You can't shine your light in their face. So like, big one is, what color fins are your buddy diving with? Because the last thing you want to be doing is swimming along, and next thing you know, you got a crossway of divers, and you're swimming someone and goes, wait a minute, my buddy didn't have green fins, he had white fins, and next thing you know, you're following the wrong person. So again, being familiar with your buddy's equipment, and that would make a big one.
Also, when you're on boats, you should listen to that dive briefing.
Yeah.
Can express how important it is that each dive boat that you're going to dive on has different kind of considerations in planning for night dives. Jeff, what else do you want to say about that?
Well, so yeah, like on the dive briefing, discuss where you're going to go, what to do in case if there's an emergency. But like Nicole was saying, on a boat, one boat might put you in with a dive guide. Some may just give you a flag and have you dive in groups. So they're going to tell you a particular pattern to follow. So I would definitely strongly recommend being good with your compass. If you're not going to have a guide or hire a dive guide, which is why we get a lot of people calling us for dive guides, because they don't want to have to deal with the navigation. Maybe they're not good with that. So be familiar with your compass skills. And we also do offer navigation courses to actually improve that. And I would definitely jump in those opportunities to make you a better night diver.
Another consideration is if you're new to night diving, is maybe splashing just before the sun disappears. That allows you to get your eyes to acclimate to the underwater environment when it gets darker. I know that's kind of the only way I like to night dive. I'm not a big fan of jumping in pitch black water, so I like to have when the sun sets and then it gets dark. But it's to each his own, right? Like some people really like the thrill of the Blackwater. So,
well, that's what the light's for too. So, when you're going down, you have your light. So your lights, it's not like you're diving in complete darkness, but yeah, right. So like Nicole was saying, the good thing about going from dawn to that sunset is you'll get to see the animals that are going to sleep and you get to see the animals coming out. So it's kind of like rush hour in the morning and rush hour at night. You got a big traffic, moving around, and same thing with the animals.
Awesome. And we did talk about being comfortable in your equipment. Definitely that's not the time to test out that brand new BCD or any other type of dive equipment, because if something goes wrong, you want to be able to make sure that you can dive safely.
I would recommend a lot of people like just basically standing in front of a mirror whenever you get something new. And I want you to picture, grab, touch everything, feel the gauges, feel where the lights are, feel where your backup light is, feel where your gauges are so you can bring them out. And then close your eyes and be able to do everything by touch so that you don't rely on sight. So that way, like on a night dive, you'll be even more relaxed because then you'll know, okay, I know where my backup light is. I know where my gauge is. You're not looking around trying to look with it with your light. Or letting go of your light to find something, and now your light's doing this disco ball effect of blinding everybody,
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. We're talking about lights, right? So let's talk about them. There are different types of lights that you're going to need to have to successfully make a night dive. The first one is?
Well, we have primary lights, so you can go something as really basic as a standard rechargeable light. You have something that can either mount to your wrist if you want to. So this type of light is really cool because if you want to do a lot of hands, like maybe you're a lobster or maybe you just want to have your hands free. So if you have to move around, so you can actually take and wear this one on your wrist. This happens to be a focusable light, which is really nice. Other things I like about it too is that it has different power settings on it. So you can see it has a color ring on it. So when it's lit up, it tells you, oh, look at this. I actually have full charge, or when it starts to go green. So you have a light that's telling you, hey, I'm getting ready to go low on power, best either in the dive soon. So I do like something like this, especially again, the focusable light, as you can see behind me. And when I go ahead and bring it back out, oops, focus to a tighter beam. And this is really nice because that cuts further back into cuts further into your depth of field. So if you want to see farther in, maybe you're looking for up in a lobster hole, or let's just say you're trying to see something that's up, looking around, and you're looking at cracks in the crevices. And then of course, if you widen it out, now you got a big wide view, so you can see much larger beam spread. And then we go to something, go to something that's a little bit more brighter. And that's like more of these guys, like a lot of the cave divers, like the cave divers like these, or the wreck divers, because they got something that's super bright. So very, very bright light. And of course, you have the capability of going from bright to lower, so you can adjust the beam. I personally like a brighter light. They are a little bit more expensive, but what I like about them is because I can actually run them buy a higher beam light, a higher luminescent light, but run it at a lower power, and I don't have to charge it as much. So the battery actually lasts longer, so you don't have to go through so many charge cycles, especially if I'm like on a liveaboard, because if you don't want to jump on the group charging system, I can actually have the light pretty much run it for days and do if I'm doing multiple night dives and not have to recharge it. And of course, you got things like colorful. If you want to get a little fancy, getting these nice, beautiful, colorful camouflage ones we have in pink and green and blue, as you can see here. I know Phyllis here has been eyeballing this one. Phyllis is the love of my life, and she loves this beautiful little light right here. And of course, she's a little jealous because she likes my big, powerful ones too sometimes. Then you have something like the HUK light that actually mounts to your mask. So this, again, you have something on the wrist or you have something you can mount on your mask. So this is really nice if you're doing stuff. Like we get a lot of guys that like to do bottom scrubbing on the boats. They love these because they mount it on their mask and they're hands-free and they're kind of working their hands. Maybe you're working with a lift line. And then you go to something like a smaller light, like a little tiny light, like a backup light. You can make any one of these lights primary or backup. So this one's really nice for a little backup light. It even has a little dome cap on it, so you can actually take and put it on top of the light. So if you want to use it for a tank light, so you can mount on the back of your on your back and light up your back, which is really nice because you want to have something that illuminates the whole area. So if you pop your head up, your back's lit up. And this one's battery operated. And then of course you move on to something like a light like this. And even like this, like I said, you can mount on your back. You can mount this one on your back. This is one of my favorite. I actually lose this light myself. I actually mount it because it mounts to my flag. So when we were started doing night dives at the Blue Heron Bridge, one of the things I did was I actually called the Sheriff's Department and the Coast Guard and asked them, what would you feel more comfortable us doing for safety reasons that would improve diver safety and more comfortable for you guys if you had to come by? And they said, well, the Coast Guard said we'd like to definitely see the flags lit up. We want to have a light on there, with the channel markers are lit up. Dive boats have to be lit up, so dive flags should be lit up. So we actually put these little lights. I like this one because it's really light. It doesn't weigh down my flag, so it's really easy to work with and really good on power. But this one, of all the ones that I do like, is this one for all the flag lights because I can change the color. Nothing's really disturbing when you pop up or if you look out there and you see everyone with the same color light. So this one actually has multicolored choices, and you can actually change it from a steady light to a blinking light, and it's actually a pretty inexpensive light. So, and it is battery operated. So I do like that. And another thing that the sheriff's department asked us was, well, what do we do for the divers? And they said, well, can you put one on the back of your tank? For sure. We used to use this a lot for just identifying divers, which was very handy because we would sit around and put a glow stick or put one of those little lights on there. And we can also use chem sticks. So the sheriff's department said, well, if you guys pop up, we would like to know if you're not looking at us, we can see your back lit up. So that now we actually wear them on the bridge. We require that everybody has one on their flag and everybody has one on their back. Now, of course, when you're going out there, and again, back to that same color, that's why we pick multiple color choices for if you're going to use these styles. Now, I'm not a big fan of them because obviously they do use up, and then you have to throw these away, and they kind of, now you got garbage and plastics. So I'm more pro to having a light that lasts longer because they actually are they go longer before that. The other one that I like that's really good to put it back in your tank is this little guy right here. This one actually, what I like about it is that when you wet it, so when it goes in the water, it automatically turns on. This actually has 500 hours. So at the bridge, we're typically doing a 2-hour dive. That's 250 dives. That's 250 glow sticks you're saving just by going with something like this. So that's another reason why I like it. It's also good for your pocket because $2 or something like this versus $10, $13 for something like this. So it's a big money saver too. And then, of course, the other one that we talk about is when we're down on out in the boats, we want to have something. Well, what if we come to the surface and we're not near the guide, we're not near the flag? Well, what I like to do is bring a safety marker. And people go, well, I can't see a safety marker. Well, there are safety markers that actually have little tabs on them. So you can actually put a glow stick and slide it right in there. So that way, if you come to the surface, boom, take your spare glow stick, put it in there, and then hold it up. I do recommend that you still carry a chem stick with you in a package like this on all dives. If something ever happened and it started to get dark out there, and you can actually pull out your safety marker because these won't go bad until you crack them. You can go and dive after dive after dive, and you'll still be good. Pull it out, boom, it started getting dark because you decided to stay down a little too long. You weren't following your plan. Or as cloud storm came in and it got really dark, you could pop this out and put it on. But what really kind of surprising is when you actually take a nice, good, big light and you turn this little baby on and you hold it up against there, it actually illuminates the safety marker. So now imagine this is like a big giant glow stick out there. So you stand out like a sore thumb. You're going to be seen very easily. So yes, I always take my SMB with me, my safety marker, even on night dives for that reason. So these are things that you can take with you to make diving in different types of lights. And of course, the favorite one is talking about other pieces of equipment that don't light up, and that would be your gauges, your equipment. So let's talk about that. So how do you navigate with an analog gauge compass at nighttime? Well, the cool thing about that is you can actually take your light and you take your compass. This is our Force-E rental, and we actually have computers, by the way, that actually are in our rentals, and they all come with compasses. So we do allow those people that are actually renting our gear, they do have a compass. So you actually take your light and you just go ahead and hold it on there. And when you actually hold it for a few seconds, you just take it away, you can see how it's kind of glowing right now. It's kind of hard to see because I got the light on in here, but it actually glows. And on some, and then Nicole's going to turn my light off here so I can show you how well. Okay, so again, I'm going to shine it on my compass. I'm going to go ahead and cover my light up. Look at that. It's all lit up. Now, the cool thing is, and if you're one of those people who are big on analog pressure gauges and you don't like digital gauges like I do, same thing. Hold it on the pressure gauge, boom, your pressure gauge lights up. Look at that. Woo! boom. So you can read even if you have analog, and the same thing if you're an analog. Go ahead, Nicole, just leave it off one more time for me. I'm going to see if we can get it to work here. So let's go ahead and go to the computer. So when we turn our computers on, the computers, maybe someone turned the light off on this one. Yep, they turned the light off on it. But the computers themselves light up. But I'll show you my Garmin. When I'm actually diving with my Garmin watch, look at that. Boom, lights up on its own. So it's all lit up. And another reason why I like dive computers is because they actually light up. So you can see how you can see my computer, easy to read, don't need a light. Now, so they're very easy to read your gauge at night. Now, I am very pro color screen computers. The reason why I like a color screen computer is because it's constantly lit up. I don't have to sit here and keep looking for my light button on my computer. It actually is always lit up. So during the daytime, it shines really well, but at nighttime it really pops. So I can see my gauges, and this is why I like this is the shearwater that we sell here at Force-E Scuba Center. And this is a color display, and same thing, it lights up, and you can change the brightness. So if you want a little brighter, maybe it's too bright, you can bring it down. Again, Phyllis, the love of my life, actually uses this one. This is the Suntos Core. Now, this one's nice. This one actually uses batteries. This is the shearwater, and the Eon Core actually uses a transmitter. I'm sorry, it uses a rechargeable battery. So you can actually just plug it in. So one of my favorite ones that I like about that feature is because of the rechargeable feature. And of course, like I said, I love my Garmin. Same thing. Color computer lights up, so I don't have to hit any lights to light it up because it's always lit up. So I do like the color computers and the screens. So some of the things that you also have to think about too are hand signals. So when you're diving underwater, of course, you remember you can't be seen. So when I teach my students, I'm really big about one-hand communication. How do you say air? Tap your palm. Some people like to say tap my palm. I do it with one hand. I tap my palm and I show my palm. This means air. How much air do you have? Like when I do number signs, 1, 2, some people like to do the number side, some will do the side or down to the bottom. But the problem with that is when you're doing a hand sign, you got to remember that you're holding a light and you have to shine that hand and illuminate that hand. So when I actually take and turn on the light and I'm trying to talk to you and I'm holding this light, no, don't blame me. I'm going to take the light and shine it on my hand to bring the power down so it's not too bright. Another great thing about an adjustable light is now I can sit here and talk to you and say, hey, how much air do you have? Okay. So the problem with sometimes tapping your arm is you can't tell what I'm asking you number-wise. So that's why I like to talk with one hand. Try to learn to do that with one-hand communication. So if you're doing numbers, you're doing how much air you have, do you have a cramp? In the out of air sign, you should learn to shine it on your body. And when you're making an ascent, same thing. You shine it upwards and you illuminate. When you're sitting on the surface, you want to illuminate your face or illuminate your head. You have it shining down so the boat can see you. Okay? So hand signals are going to be with simple, basic, don't make it too complicated, okay? So you're going to ask someone if they're okay. You're going to ask someone if something's wrong. And of course, if you have to point your head, be careful not to blind yourself. Or maybe you're having an ear problem. Maybe it's time to go up, okay? So things like that are something that you want to practice with your lights. Here we go. And work with your hand communication. But the big one is, remember, don't shine it at your light at your hand where you can see it. Shine it the other way. Imagine the light is their eyeballs, and then they can see it. And of course, I know everybody likes to wear black gloves, but black gloves against black suits can make it a little hard. So again, remember to think about those things when you're actually talking with someone. Okay. And then there's things. What will we see at nighttime? Oh, what will you not see at nighttime? That's the thing. So underwater, we have things like different types of animals that you're going to see, things that you don't see during the daytime. I actually will see bobbit worms more at nighttime than I will during the daytime. Ragged sea hares, which like to bury themselves at nighttime, they like to come out during the daytime, like to come out at night. Animals that like to forage, I see more octopus out roaming at nighttime. I see the spotted moray eels, instead of staying in their holes, I see them swim around. So these are things that I just see at the bridge at nighttime. And out on the reefs, when I'm diving off the boat, Basking Star. If you've never seen a Basking Star, I just want you to imagine a million little lines with, I'd say millions a little overrated, but it seems that way. But thousands of little sticky little Velcro fingers, and they look like a big clustery ball, but then they come out and they work themselves up the sponge or the side of a plant or a type of a sea fan, and they actually start swaying out there, called baskets. They just sway with the current, and they're just catching particles. You see their arms rolling out. So one of my favorite are those. The other things you see is shrimp. So, yes, we have a lot of shrimp out there, but I just find that fascinating because at nighttime, daytime you don't see them, but at nighttime they come out more. Now, because of those things, you'll see animals like to prey on those type of little guys. So you'll see other animals that come out. For example, like when Nicole was coming out, when she came out to California, and I went up, not California, but when we went to Hawaii, she went one time, and me and Phyllis went on another one to go see the Manta Rays. And because at nighttime they shine their lights up and they illuminate it, and all the plankton came in, and they're hanging around that's light, and then the Manta Rays would just come in and they would swoop in. So you just get these awesome encounters at nighttime. You can't do that at daytime. So there's things like that. So it's from little shrimp to big giant manta rays are things you'll encounter.
Another thing that you can encounter at night is the corals. They're going to look a lot different at night because at night they depend on their little feeders, their little filter feeders, their little tentacles. And so those come out, and your corals, they look fuzzy. And that's because they're feeding at night. During the day, they don't feed. It's at night. And so that's why those corals are fuzzy. Another thing about corals is that during the seasons, they will do their spawning. And if you have an opportunity to go out and see coral spawning, it is the coolest thing to see. A lot of times it occurs late at night when there's a full moon, and photographers from all around the world will come down here to South Florida just so they can get pictures and video of this event that's going on.
Oh, so cool. And it's not just the corals. We have things like the frogfish. We have them happening at the bridge. We have at nighttime they'll go out and they'll actually find it. The males will follow along the females, and they'll actually go up in mid-column, and she spirals and releases her eggs, and the males come in, and it's a big dance. But it happens at nighttime. And of course, one other thing that happens at nighttime, like I said, a lot of these little guys come out, and that is lobsters. Lobsters love to come out at nighttime because that's when they feel safer to go ahead and roam around and actually forage for food, or maybe go to a location. And of course, I told you about those pesky predators going after them. Well, that's us divers. We're one of those predators because when we go out at nighttime, we go in and we actually grab them. The good part about that would be obviously is that they're out usually more in the sand doing a walk or something, so it's a little better for the corals. And you kind of could tell that you're not going to mess with the ones with the females with the eggs as well. But yeah, they do like to move around, and that's when you ever see a lobster walk. It's pretty cool to see this, hundreds of these lobsters just walking, tail to face, just walking, and it's kind of a neat experience to see that.
Another animal that I didn't have a picture of, but it's a really cool thing that they do at night is parrotfish. Parrotfish will hide into little crevices, and then they'll blow this snot bubble all over themselves. Yeah. And what they're doing is they're masking their scent, and they're masking themselves from predators. And so if you ever go out and dive during the day and you just see these like globs on the reef, that's usually parrotfish snot. So don't pick it up, or maybe pick it up and hand it to your kid and they think it's the coolest thing ever.
Well, and with that being said, it's very important to also remember that you have to remember that if you're going to go out and do a night dive, let's respect the reef. Let's respect the animals. If you see a parrotfish, you see something that's sitting there, if you don't want to shine your light in your eye and sit here and just have a light constantly blowing into your eye, imagine how they feel. Okay, so take that in consideration when you're taking a picture, doing a video. And speaking of videos, just remember, when you're doing videos, you don't need your filters for your GoPros. Like, you don't need to put those color filters on there because the light is going to actually, you're bringing in the color just by bringing the light in.
Okay, so yes, snorkeling at night.
Yep.
Say what?
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Tell me all about it.
So believe it or not, it is actually pretty cool. We have a large group they come to the Blue Heron Bridge when we have our every 2 week night dive at the bridge. They'll have the little glow sticks, the Kim sticks or a light strapped to their snorkel. There's a group that comes in. They have the little necklaces that glow. They'll wear those. I've even seen some of them show them on their vest on the back too. So, but yes, it's really neat because you don't have to be a diver. You can be a snorkeler. We had so many little baby squids that were out, and all the snorkelers were coming out, and they were saying they're all right underneath us, and we put our light out, and they were swimming up to our light, and so they really got the great encounter. And yeah, you have really good visibility. Yeah, especially where the rock trail sits in about like 10 feet, 8 feet of water. So yeah, and that's in the bottom. So the top of those trail that sits about maybe anywhere between 6 to 6 feet easy. So you see a lot of neat stuff when you're snorkeling at night.
Okay. What are some of our favorite night dives? Well, we decided to pull together a couple of the ones. Obviously, Mr. Blue Heron Bridge here. All right. Definitely number one is the Blue Heron Bridge. And why is that?
Again, it's easy to access. And I can never stop saying there's so many types of species of animals that are there. You've got from nudibranchs, which love to come out at nighttime, and a large variety of those. The other one would be just the capability of not going to have to go deep. So that's where we say you don't have to go deep. We've actually been underwater. We've turned our light off, and you just got if you're close enough to the bridge, you see the lights illuminating up underneath up from the bridge. So you kind of still have like a kind of a night no light swim through. But then we turn our lights back on, and it's kind of cool. So you see a lot of different animals at the bridge. Especially like I was talking about, all the things I was talking about, the octopus, they come out at nighttime, and everything, like I said, that's small wants to move from place to place. Moon, oh yeah, I love the moon snails. They come out and they're really pretty, and they like to actually take and crawl along the bottom and forage. So yeah, you see a lot of neat stuff with that.
Speaking about the moon, when we do have full moons, what is it like to dive at the Blue Heron Bridge when we have a full moon?
It's like all the little animals are like, hey, party time, let's come out, let's do. So you see a lot of different activities between mating with the frogfish. You've got the sponges and so forth that you have that are growing up on the artificial rock area reacting. So just basic stuff like that. But at full moon, we just seem to get all the animals are just kind of in a party mood. They're always out coming out. We see more of the spotted eagle rays too. It seems to be at nighttime right there that time. And the nice thing about it, because it's so bright, the tide's a little bit higher. So when we have our full moon, sometimes when we get a king high tide, so that'll actually make the tide a little deeper, but it also brings in different animals from I don't know. We had a Goliath grouper that was hanging out with us at the bridge one time. So
Manatee?
The manatees, yeah, the manatees coming in. So again, you can't. I tell you, I don't know what I haven't seen there. So it's really nice.
You've never seen a whale shark there.
Don't say that.
All right. Some other of our favorite night dives are the Wrexham Reefs here in South Florida. Jeff, is there a particular site that you like to dive site? Yeah,
on the Rex, I love doing the Anna Cecilia because it's just because she's still pretty. She's standing up really good. So she's one of my favorite wrecks out here because a little bit of swim through, especially if you're an advanced wreck diver. And because there's some local resident groupers that like to hang out on there. So yeah, the wrecks are really kind of cool, especially when like I said, you have the swim throughs and you're seeing the lights, and you just be surprised all the stuff that's actually growing on it.
All right, and then there's the Blackwater night dives. So I know that Jeff's going to talk about the ones here in Palm Beach, but there's actually other places in the world that host Blackwater night dives. In Hawaii, they've got them. They've got some in, I think it's Anilau. Some of the people from the Underwater Photography Club, they go out to those areas to do them. But here in Palm Beach, we actually have Blackwater night diving. And what is a Blackwater night dive, Jeff?
So Blackwater is night dive is where they actually take the boat takes you out in really deep water. It could be anywhere from 600 feet in depth, but you're really only going about maybe 60 feet, so 40 feet, depending on the boat, what they discuss. But you're just floating in mid-column. And when you're floating there, you're just taking and you're seeing just a little cool stuff that is just actually things you would never see, but it's just little stuff that's floating out in the middle of the water. So it does take a little bit of an eye to see some of it, but even for the people with the GoPros, just going out there and experiencing, even if you weren't videoing, just experiencing it, just floating in mid-column. So that's again where buoyancy control comes in helpful. But like, for example, we used Wetter the Better, Bill Walker's charter. We actually use his boat. He does a lot of those, and we book through him.
And so what those animals he's describing are actually animals that live down in the deep during the day, and they come to the surface to do all their feeding. So you have things like larval stages of lobster and fish. You'll also have different types of things like jellyfishes and ctenophores, and you'll get some occasional like just wacky looking things, and you're like, what is this? Well, guys, let me tell you, they have these two ladies who wrote a book, and it's at our store. It's a Blackwater night diving book. And if you want a copy of that, come into the store, or I'll put the link in the comment section here, and you can buy it online. But it is a way to ID some of these animals, and you would look at it and go, wow, that doesn't look anything like a lionfish, but it's a lionfish, or that doesn't look anything like a eel, but it's an eel. Yeah. And so the larval stages of a lot of these animals that live in deep will come up and feed at night, and that's what everyone's looking at. And a lot of times they're transparent, and so they'll light up when a light is shined onto them, and they'll even have like a rainbow coloration. And so a lot of these photographers are able to capture some beautiful images. I think pretty much these things look like aliens.
You definitely want to come by and get the book, because it really shows you things you would never believe was out there. So just just tiny stuff, and that you see that you would think, oh my gosh, I've never known that was in the water, and yeah, it's really remarkable. So.
But again, talking about making sure that you know your gear, I was on a Blackwater night dive in Hawaii, and I was with a buddy, and I didn't have a camera on me at the time, but I was the spotter. So I had the flashlight, and this person had their little like camera, and it was on their wrist, and they're taking pictures of things. And then I go, ooh, look at this one. And I turn, and they're like, camera gone. And I'm like, oh, because it went down, and it was in over, 1,000 feet of water, and you ain't going to be able to retrieve that. So that's why it's very, 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 very important to know your gear and to make sure that your buoyancy is on point. Now, when we dove in Hawaii, they actually would tether the divers to the boat, because the current is so swift there. They don't want you to get away from the boat. And they actually put it's called a kite anchor. They put it in the water, and it slows the drag of the boat so that the divers can stay underneath the boat during that dive. Most of the time, this is only a one-tank dive. I believe Walker's is a one-tanker.
Yeah, that's a long dive.
Yeah, but it's a long dive. You get over an hour underwater. And like he said, anywhere from 0 feet to 60 feet is the depth range you're going to be staying in. There is the occasional things that do come up at night. I've heard some people being visited by little silky sharks, or I think a swordfish one time. So you can always get the bigger animals that come out, but most of the time that Blackwater night dive is going to be those teeny tiny little animals that you're looking for. Another dive site, I'm not sure, Jeff, have you done the Bonaire dive sites at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put this one on here because I don't night dive that often, but this is the one I like to do. Down in Bonaire, there is a couple of different house reefs that you can jump off of. And the one that I like to go is Divvy Flamingo. And you just literally fall off the plank there, the dock. And I start when the days, like the sun is setting. So that way my eyes can adjust and I can feel comfortable and confident. And then once that goes black, whenever you shine your light onto like the little fish, these huge tarpon will come from out of anywhere, and they'll just grab that fish and eat it right in front of you. So it's kind of like a video game, like how do you feed the tarpon video game. And so you would just shine your light, feed the fish.
And they adapted, because what they do is they know the little fish will get low, and they actually learn, the tarpon and learn to flip themselves upside down and go for their fish, go for their meal. So they actually learn to adapt how to eat around at nighttime on those divers.
Okay, and the last one to mention, I know you talked about the Kona Manta Ray night dive. A little bit about that one. That's on the big island of Hawaii. And what the dive companies do is they offer this to not just divers, but to snorkelers as well. And so what they do is they'll put a crate of lights in the middle, and it looks like you're in a campfire because they put all the divers around that crate. And those lights are all shining up, and then every diver has their light, and you're instructed to hold it up here above your head.
Just like that.
Okay, and then the snorkelers they have like boogie boards or like surfboards with lights that point down, and then they hang on to those boards and they look down. And what happens is the most magical thing I've ever seen. It's one of my favorite night dives. The manta rays, they come in and they're, like Jeff said, they're feeding on the krill that's in the lights, and they do these beautiful dance moves through your lights. Mm-hmm. And if you're lucky, one will come and just skim the top of your head.
That's why I have no hair. Shaving right off. And of course, one of my the one that I do want to mention that I like is my absolute favorite out of the United States would be the one that I went when I went to Banga Lagoon in Fiji. I love the house reef because it was remarkable, because the just seeing the anemones coming out, and the clownfish, and of course, were all over the area during the daytime, but at nighttime. You had your different types of sea cucumbers, and again at nighttime we had some of them were spawning, so that was really cool. We do have that trip coming up here, by the way, just to let you guys know, in October, the first week of October, the last day of September, is it? First week of October. It's the trip right now is going without airfare, is going for 2010, but we still have spots, and right now there are all beachfront locations. So it's going to be five boat trips, 2 tank dives, and then we're possibly even going to have a couple 3 tankers in there as well. So, but give us a call back, Gummer. Give us a call, and we'll give you some more information about that trip.
Awesome. Okay, so we have this fantastic video of the Blue Heron Bridge night dives that our photo pros did, making waves, and so I'm going to play that for you guys. Okay, so that is our video of the Blue Heron Bridge night dives that we had done with the photo pros from Making Waves Productions. So if you guys want to get in and do a Blue Heron Bridge night dive, like Jeff said, we host them twice a month. You can go to our website, www.force-e.com, and you can see what our schedule is, and we host not only the night dive, you can do it on your own, or if you'd like, we just started offering the guided group dives. And Jeff, tell them a little bit more about those.
So it's actually pretty nice. So some people go there and they don't know anything how to navigate the area, especially for and they can either hire a private dive guide for $125 for the first 2 people, or they can turn around and join the group one, which is $25, and we do limit that to 6 just because we don't want to overcrowd it. So it's not a really super. We don't believe in the massive group thing. That just people just on top of each other. So we limit it to 6. And then of course, if you don't want to even do the private or you want to do the group, you can just go on your own. It doesn't cost anything. Force-E does not charge that. Skip and Kathy are really gracious about pulling these permits and not charging, so you can go on your own. We just ask you to follow some of the basic rules, and that is 1, make sure you have a light on your flag, have one on your back, and then have a primary light. And of course, we do recommend some extra safety features that another backup light, things like that.
And then another thing too is how do you book to do one of these guides? What's the best way to go about?
So if we're doing just the private guide, you just call the shop. Call one of our 3 locations. We have Boca, Pompano, and Riviera. So if you say you want to come up here to the bridge and dive up here and do one, or even if you're doing one of our boat night dives here in one of the stores, just give us a call. We'll go ahead and set that up for you.
Awesome. Okay, so someone wants to know what camera was used for the video. Unfortunately, I'm not totally sure what camera they're using, but it's definitely a high definition DSLR camera. I don't know which one it is though. But we have another question about what is the best time of year to dive the Blue Heron Bridge at night? Is there any best times?
I really don't know. I'd say there's a best time because when we have octopus coming in one time, we have frogfish coming in another, we have seahorses. So every time of the year there's something different, and sometimes we have just everything happening. I don't think there is just one particular type of year, so it depends on what you're looking for.
Awesome. Okay, and next slide. Oh, there we go. So, taking a course with Force-E, night diver course. Tell them about the course, Jeff. How do you conduct the course?
So we conduct the course a couple of ways. We can either do them mainly where you're either going to be doing a 2, depending on if you want to do some extra dives. So you can do at least a minimum of at least 2 dives, or you can do up to 3, depending on how you want to set your profile. The dives are designed so that you have to have the course. Excuse me. It's designed so that you learn the basic fundamentals and you get to put those to use. Some of the things that I was talking about, you don't want to be doing that on your own and worry about losing equipment and knowing how to do it properly. So this is why the course is designed to help you, have someone there to help you and show you techniques. Because, sometimes something doesn't work for one person, might work for another. So that's why we try to teach you different techniques on how to dive and how to be safe. And we go into more depth on a lot more safety features and things you need to do, like light out. Your primary light fails, how to switch over, how to adjust without a light underwater. So a lot of those safety features. And then of course we offer the capability, if you want to, you can also go off of a boat. So I do recommend that you usually try to do something to wet your whistle, maybe do a shore dive, or you can even do it if you want to off a boat.
Do you guys have a problem hearing us? Let us know. Can you hear us? Somebody wrote that they lost all sound. Hopefully people can hear us. I think so because they're asking questions.
So things that I would tell you guys to plan on doing, especially if you want to be a dive master or a master diver. It's not required for master diver, but dive masters, doing a night dive is one of the requirements, because obviously you don't want to be, you don't want to take a certification to be a dive master and not know how to, or a dive guide. So remember, we do have that level of certification where you don't want to master all the science. You can do a dive guide. We have a lot of dive guides that work for us in the store. And if you haven't done a night dive, you definitely want to have that experience, have that certification on your belt, because 1, that just makes you a much more experienced diver. 2, it makes me a much more comfortable diver. And if you ever wanted to do a wreck penetration, become an advanced wreck dive, the night diving course really does help out, especially those that want to become cavern or cave divers as well.
Okay, so somebody is asking, what light do you suggest? Well, there's lots of options, guys, but if you're diving with Jeff Nelson, his favorites are?
I do love the big blue lights. I think they have a big blue I like because they have good customer service. They have good quality lights. The I like something that you can take the battery out, and so you can have multiple batteries. So if you travel somewhere and charging is not an option, so I do like rechargeable batteries. So I like the idea of having an extra battery if possible. So I don't like something where I can't be able to quick throw a new light in if I forgot to charge it or something like that.
Okay.
And I do like a more powerful light. Not that I want to need the power. I just want it so I can bring it down so the battery so the light will last longer. So if you have some of those older lights, especially the ones where it just had the old bulb light on it, the problem with those is they can burn out. You can have it turn on one time and pop. So I do love LED lights. So that's another thing that I would upgrade to. And lights are pretty they're not so crazy on price anymore like they used to be. Mm-hmm. So you can start off anywhere from about a good $50 and go up from there. But I say with probably a decent light nowadays is about a good $100 to $150 in that price range for a decent primary light.
Awesome. All right. So, Jeff, what do you think? Should we go ahead and raffle off something? Okay, let me go ahead and bring in our random name picker. Oh, which way? There we go. All right, guys. So like I said in the beginning, we are going to be raffling off a night diver e-learning digital kit from SDI. So if you guys want to do this class with Jeff or any of the Force-E instructors, you're going to need to start with doing either book or a digital kit. And so this is going to be the digital kit we're raffling off. So let's take a look. I've got everyone's name into our random name picker. So let's go ahead and see who wins. I'm going to laugh if it's your girlfriend.
Oh, no. She's probably going to kill me if it's not.
Nadia.
Nadia.
Do you know Nadia?
Nadia? Yes, I know Nadia.
Oh, okay. So, Nadia, you are a winner of the Night Diver digital kit. So, we will email you with more information about how to obtain this kit. And you know what? Jeff decided to sweeten the deal. He decided that Blackwater Creatures book was something we should raffle off. What do you guys think? Who wants to win? Give us thumbs up right now. Give us a thumbs up.
It goes away if you don't want to tell us.
All right, let's see who the winner of this book is. Okay. Lisa, you are a big winner for the Blackwater Creatures book. And you know what, Lisa? If you hang around the stores, you might be able to get the authors to sign it for you.
Nice.
All right, so let me go ahead and hide this. And there we are. Okay, there are no more questions. It looks like we got all those answered. If you have any other questions about night diving, come on into any of the Force-E stores. We have lots of staff that do the night dives, teach the night dives, and we are here to help you get more information. And again, thank you, Jeff, for a great presentation, and we will see you all on the water.
Let's go diving.